All right, let's dive right into this. Story selling for e-commerce. Looks like y'all are really curious about this one. We've got some fascinating stuff to unpack today. Articles, frameworks, even some cool real-world examples.
Yeah, and we'll be focusing on giving you guys some tangible takeaways that you can use to make your brand, your products just, well, more engaging.
Exactly. And hopefully that translates into those sweet, sweet sales.
Absolutely.
So the big idea here is that people connect more deeply with stories than with just a bunch of product features and specs. Right?
Okay.
We're not just going to tell you what story selling is. We're going to explore why it's so effective.
Right. We're going to get into the nitty-gritty of the psychology and even the neuroscience behind it. And then most importantly, we'll look at how you can actually apply this stuff in your e-commerce strategy.
Awesome. Let's get started. This episode of E-commerce Psychology is powered by Growth Suite. Growth Suite helps you to run smart discount campaigns on your store. Test it for free on your Shopify store. Just land on the Shopify App Store now and test it for free.
Okay, so first things first, let's define story selling, especially in the context of, selling online. It's a bit of a shift from just listing off product specs.
So instead of saying, hey, this blanket is made of 100% organic cotton, we're talking about something a bit more engaging.
Yeah. Like instead you might talk about where that cotton comes from, maybe the family farm that's been growing it for generations or the skilled artisans who weave it, or even the problem it solves for the customer.
Like how it gives you the best sleep of your life or keeps you warm on even the chilliest nights.
Right, exactly. You paint a picture, create a feeling.
Okay, I'm starting to see the difference here. It's really a departure from the traditional marketing playbook of shouting about features and deals.
Right. It's less about a hard sell and more about connecting with your audience on a deeper level. And the reason it works so well is, well, it's all about our brains.
Okay, get nerdy on me. I'm all ears.
So our brains just love stories.
Oh, yeah. I'm a sucker for a good story. Netflix knows that all too well. Haha.
Uh-huh. Exactly. But it's not just about entertainment. Stories are actually way more memorable than just plain facts. In fact, there was this Stanford study that found facts presented within a story are a whopping 22 times more memorable.
Wow, 22 times. That's huge.
Yeah.
Okay, now that's a stat worth remembering. So it's not just about making it sound pretty. It's about it actually sticking in your customer's mind.
Yeah. And it gets even cooler. When we hear a compelling story, our neural networks light up as if we're experiencing those events ourselves.
Oh, really? So our brains don't really know the difference between actually living something and just hearing about it in a story.
Not exactly, but you get the idea.
That's incredible.
And this activation can trigger the release of oxytocin.
Oxytocin, that's like the love hormone, right?
Or like the trust hormone. But yeah, similar idea. It's that feeling of connection.
So stories can actually make people feel more connected to your brand.
Exactly. And that connection, well, it often leads to trust. And trust is key for any e-commerce business.
Makes total sense. So we might think we make buying decisions based on logic, but it sounds like emotions play a big role too.
Absolutely. And stories are a powerful way to tap into those emotions.
So it's not just about presenting the facts and figures, it's about making people feel something.
Yes. And when you make people feel something, well, they're much more likely to hit that buy now button.
That's fascinating. Okay, but there's more to it than just tugging on those heartstrings, right?
Yeah.
What about our sense of self, like our identity?
That's a great point. Think about it. People often buy products that reflect who they are or maybe even who they want to be. So, like, if someone sees themselves as an adventurous, outdoorsy type, and your brand tells stories that align with those values, they're going to be way more drawn to your products.
Right, like this backpack isn't just for carrying stuff, it's for conquering mountains.
Exactly. It becomes part of their self-narrative.
I'm getting all philosophical over here.
Yeah.
Okay, so authenticity, that seems to be a huge buzzword these days.
Mhm.
How does that fit into all of this?
It's more than a buzzword. It's essential, especially online. People can smell BS a mile away.
Oh yeah, we've all seen those cheesy ads that try too hard.
Exactly. So instead, be transparent. Share your brand's journey, the ups and downs. Maybe talk about the founder's struggles or highlight how you ethically source your materials.
People want to connect with the human side of your brand, right?
Absolutely. Real stories, real people. It's like 86% of consumers say authenticity is a major factor in their purchasing decision.
Wow, 86%. Okay, so we get what story selling is, why it works, But how do we actually make it happen? How do we shape these stories?
That's the fun part. Let's talk about narrative structures. A classic one is the hero's journey.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. Like Star Wars, right? Luke Skywalker, the whole deal.
Exactly. You've got your hero facing challenges, overcoming obstacles, and ultimately achieving transformation.
Okay, but how does that apply to selling, socks online?
Well, think of your customer as the hero. They have a problem, a need, and your product is the tool that helps them overcome that challenge.
So, these aren't just socks. They're the secret weapon for conquering your marathon.
Haha, yeah. Or maybe these socks will keep your feet so comfortable you'll forget you're even wearing them.
So even everyday products can be part of a heroic narrative.
Absolutely. It's about finding that relatable struggle and showing how your product helps the customer emerge victorious.
Okay, I like it. What other narrative frameworks can we use?
Another effective one is the problem-solution structure. It's pretty straightforward. You highlight a pain point your audience experiences, build some tension, and then boom, present your product as the solution.
Classic storytelling, right? Create a problem, build suspense, and then offer the resolution.
Exactly. Think about the products you offer. What's a common frustration your customers might have that your products solve?
That's a good question. It makes you think about your product in a whole new way.
Exactly. And then there's the origin and heritage narrative. This is great for brands with a unique history or founding story.
Like a family recipe passed down through generations, or a company that started in a garage.
Exactly. Sharing your brand's background, your values, where you came from, all of that adds a layer of authenticity and, frankly, just makes you more relatable.
It shows there's a real story behind the brand, not just a faceless corporation. Consumers care about that now more than ever.
Right. They want to know who they're buying from, what they stand for. And finally, there's the community and belonging narrative.
This feels especially relevant in today's world, where everyone's on social media and looking for a connection.
Exactly. You're essentially positioning your brand as a tribe, a group of like-minded people united by shared values or passions. Think about featuring user-generated content, testimonials, customer stories. It shows potential customers they're not just buying a product, they're joining a community.
It's powerful stuff. Okay, we've got all these great story structures. Now, how do we actually implement this in our e-commerce strategy?
It's all about integrating it into the customer journey, from the moment they become aware of your brand to way after they've made a purchase.
So, like a continuous narrative that unfolds across all touch points.
Precisely. Let's break it down by stage. First up, awareness. This is where you grab their attention. You need a hook, something intriguing, maybe even a bit mysterious. A short video on social media or a captivating image on your website can do wonders.
Okay, so tease the story a bit, pique their curiosity. Then what about when they're considering their options, doing their research?
This is where you deepen the story. Provide more context. Maybe give a behind-the-scenes look at your process or share customer success stories. Testimonials are gold here. And data, if you have it, use it.
So you're building trust and showing how your product can truly benefit them.
Exactly. And then we get to the big one, conversion.
The moment of truth. Are they going to click add to cart or not?
Here's where you really emphasize the transformation your product offers, the positive emotions it evokes. You want them to feel confident that this purchase will make their lives better. Social proof and guarantees are super helpful here.
So even the checkout process can be part of the story.
Absolutely. And after the purchase, don't drop the ball.
Keep the story going.
Exactly. This is where you build loyalty. Send follow-up content, maybe even exclusive offers just for them. Encourage them to share their own experiences, reviews, photos.
It's about creating a sense of community and making them feel like they're part of something special.
Exactly. Okay, now let's get tactical. We've got our overall narrative, but how do we tailor it for different e-commerce platforms?
That's a great question. A story that works on Instagram might not translate so well on your website's product page, right?
Right. So on your website, think mini stories. A compelling paragraph in your product description, a beautiful image, or even a short video can all contribute to the narrative. And pay attention to your microcopy, those little bits of text. Even your button copy can tell a story.
You mean instead of just saying buy now, you could say something like start your journey.
Exactly. Every word counts. Now, with email marketing, you have more space to unfold the story in chapters.
So maybe the first email introduces the problem, the second offers a solution, and the third shares customer testimonials.
You got it. Personalized emails can really make the story resonate. Think about how you can personalize those emails to really capture your audience.
And then there's social media. That's a whole different beast.
It is. Each platform has its own vibe, so you gotta adapt. Instagram is all about visuals, so short, impactful stories work best. Facebook allows for a bit more text and discussion. The key is consistency. Maintain your brand's voice across all platforms.
And don't forget about the power of user-generated content. That's basically free storytelling.
Exactly. Encourage your followers to share their experiences with your products. It's authentic and super engaging. And we can't forget video.
Video is huge,
Yeah.
especially with platforms like TikTok and Instagram Reels.
It's the ultimate way to connect emotionally. Show real people, real stories. Don't be afraid to get a little raw and unscripted. Authenticity is king.
And the right music and editing can really amplify the emotional impact.
For sure. Okay, now let's talk about how to know if all this storytelling is actually working. We need to measure the results, right?
Right, otherwise it's just a nice story, not a successful marketing strategy.
Exactly. So you got to track your metrics. Engagement, conversions, average order value, even customer sentiment. Look at comments, reviews, social media mentions.
It's a mix of quantitative and qualitative data.
And don't forget about A/B testing. Test different story angles, headlines, images, you name it. See what resonates best with your audience.
Like, is it more effective to tell our founder's story or to focus on customer transformations?
Exactly. And then ultimately, you need to analyze your return on investment. Storytelling takes time, effort, maybe even some money, so you need to make sure it's paying off.
And that doesn't just mean immediate sales, right? It could be about building brand loyalty and awareness, which can pay off in the long run.
Right. It's about the big picture. Okay, let's look at some brands that are killing it with story selling. Patagonia, they're masters of this.
Oh yeah, Patagonia, they're all about sustainability and environmental activism.
Exactly. Their stories are all about their values, their community projects, the ethical sourcing of their materials. Even their Don't Buy This Jacket campaign was a story.
That's a bold move, telling people not to buy your product. But it clearly worked.
It showed they were walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
Yeah.
And then there's Warby Parker. They disrupted the eyewear industry with their Buy a Pair, Give a Pair program. It's a story of social impact and making a difference. They're not just selling glasses, they're selling a mission.
That's smart. And then there's GoPro. They've built a massive brand by essentially letting their customers tell the story.
Yeah, their user-generated content is amazing. All those incredible videos of people doing extreme sports and adventures. It's like, if they can do it with a GoPro, so can I.
And it's not just the big guys. Small businesses can leverage this too.
Absolutely. Think about local artisans, craft makers. Their stories are often about passion, tradition, unique skills. They can connect with customers on a really personal level.
Okay, all this is super inspiring, but we got to talk about the ethical side of things too.
Right. Story selling is powerful, but it needs to be used responsibly. Authenticity is crucial.
Don't make stuff up just for the sake of a good story.
Yeah, you gotta be genuine. Transparency is key. And inclusivity, too. Make sure your stories represent a diverse range of voices and perspectives.
It's about reflecting the real world, not just a narrow slice of it.
Exactly. And be mindful of the emotions you're tapping into. Don't use fear or guilt to manipulate people. Aim for stories that empower and inspire.
So with great power comes great responsibility.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Okay, last but not least, what's on the horizon for story selling? What trends should we be watching out for?
Well, technology is going to play a big role. Think augmented reality, interactive videos, maybe even voice-powered AI telling brand stories, and personalization, using data to tailor stories to individual preferences. But, got to be careful with that. Respect people's privacy.
It's a delicate balance. And what about consumers? Their expectations are changing too, right?
Absolutely. They're savvier, more demanding. They want authenticity, consistency, and they want to be part of the story. Brands need to be ready to adapt.
It's a dynamic landscape out there.
Yeah.
Okay, so for anyone listening who's thinking, this all sounds great, but where do I even begin? What's your advice?
First, define your brand's core narrative. What's your unique story? Get your team on board.
Yeah.
And then start small. Experiment, test different approaches.
Don't try to do everything at once. Pick one platform, one product, and start there.
Exactly. Measure your results and iterate. Storytelling is a journey, not a destination.
I love that. So to wrap things up, it seems like story selling is more than just a marketing tactic. It's really a philosophy, a way of connecting with your customers on a deeper level.
Absolutely. It's about building relationships, not just transactions. It's about creating a brand that people want to be a part of.
By understanding the psychology behind it, using those narrative structures we discussed, and being authentic and inclusive, you can really transform your e-commerce game. This episode of E-commerce Psychology is powered by Growth Suite. Growth Suite helps you to run smart discount campaigns on your store. Test it for free on your Shopify store. Just land on the Shopify App Store now and test it for free.
So my challenge to you is this. What's your brand's most authentic and compelling story? Figure that out and tell it.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Yeah, it's been fun.
See you next time.